ATL.GA Faithful, my people. I'm D. Douglas Carter, back on the scene doing my thing, and I just want to say I appreciate you and the work that you do. Oh, I just had to pop on here and drop this video. There's a lot of stuff to touch on. I just watched a interview with Mike Florio and Rodney Harrison, and they were discussing Kirk Cousins. We're going to chop that up. I saw on X, even though I'm not on X or Twitter or Twix or whatever you call it, I did see Bijan Robinson got fined like $22,000 for unnecessary roughness because he lowered his shoulder. That's crazy. We'll touch on that. I'll throw the clip up in there if y'all haven't seen that. Then, you know, we all know the news about Jimmy Lake getting fired. We're going to touch on that and who could be the next defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons. College football playoffs, Ohio State, Notre Dame showdown. Stuff kind of looking salty in the sense that, you know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing their playoffs right now as we speak. They're playing Washington, which a team we should have beat, and I'll put that on a coaching error. And then, you know, we beat Tampa Bay twice. That should be us in the playoffs, but, you know, it's not. And then, you know, the fact that the Bulldogs lost to Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's in the championship, you know, leaves a little sour taste. The fact that the Texas Longhorns made it farther in the playoffs than we did after we beat them twice. You know, Ohio State looks to be the real deal. I think they'll win it, but Notre Dame is a lot better than I thought. I thought the Georgia Bulldogs was going to smash them and walk all over them. I did not think Notre Dame was in the league. I didn't think they were in our league as far as Georgia and the SEC goes, but Notre Dame proved us wrong. A lot of coaching errors in that game. Shout out to Larry on the Dixon Way. If you haven't checked out the Dixon Way, or if you ain't subbed, go check out the Dixon Way. A lot of good content, play-by-play on the Hawks, talks Falcons, talks all Georgia sports, anything popping, he's got it covered for you. You know, Smitty Smith Sports Machine doing his thing. Shout out to him. Shout out to A1, Chris Tip Moore. And then shout out to Debo Vibes as well. I did, you know, a live with Debo and Smitty, and I was saying I hope that Commanders game didn't come down to a field goal because our kicking game just fell off a cliff and it was so suspect. And what did you know? It did come down to a field goal that was a little out of range because we're not making proper coaching decisions, in my opinion. Then we get stomped by the Panthers and let Bryce Young put up 44 points on us. That was crazy. I also want to touch on, man, I don't usually do this, but when there's an exceptional player that does stuff the right way, you know, I got to give them their flowers when they earn them. You know what I'm saying? Give them their respect, give them their props. Shout out to Mike Evans as the first wide receiver in NFL history, numero uno, to have his first 11 seasons with 1,000 yards every single season, his first 11 seasons of his career. 11 seasons is a lot of work, crazy work to put in. And, like, shout out to Mike Evans. He's been hurt, you know what I'm saying? And even with him being hurt, he comes back and he gets it. And shout out to the Tampa Bay organization for getting him that pass and getting him those yards. I know that's crazy. Jerry Rice has 11 1,000-yard seasons as well, but he didn't do it in his first 11 years. That only goes to Mr. Mike Evans. So shout out to Mike Evans. Yeah, so let's touch on who could be the next DC for Atlanta Falcons. There's you know, reports. I kind of been looking, seeing what's going on. So far we hear Jeff Ulbrich. You know, he used to be on this staff with Dan Quinn. Robert Salah, I think he's looking for a head coaching job, but he's a name that's thrown out there. Steve Wilks, former defensive coordinator for the Panthers. I like Steve Wilks, and I think, you know, that could be a good hire if we bring him in. That's who I'm kind of leaning to right now. Now, will Raheem Morris just hand it down to Jerry Gray and let Jerry Gray call the shots? I'm cool with that as well. People are talking about Dennis Allen. Would the Atlanta Falcons really bring Dennis Allen over to be the DC? I don't know his relationship with Raheem Morris. but that's a name that's being thrown around. Here's an interesting take. I don't think it would happen, but, Chuck Smith, the Atlanta Falcons, legend, one of the best sack artists we had, coaching the outside linebackers up in Baltimore. Could we just get him on this staff? I would love to see that, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'm hoping it's going to be Steve Wilkes. I think that would be a good hire, but you never know. Robert Salah is okay too. Jeff Albrick, he's okay too. Is there any chance we could get the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs? I don't know his contract situation. Steve Spagnuolo. I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name. Spags. He got that championship caliber. Could we bring him on as a DC, or is Raheem Morris just going to take over and be the DC? I don't really like that. I like Raheem being the head coach and having a OC and a DC and just focusing on time management. Please, Mr. Raheem Morris, I like you as a coach. Can we focus on time management? That is your main function as the head coach in game time. But yeah. And then let's y'all let me know who y'all want to be our next defensive coordinator. Who do you think the Falcons should get to be their next DC? Any names that I haven't touched on, any names that I'm not saying, any names you think could be a good fit, any new up-and-comers that we might want to get on this Falcons coaching staff, let me know. Also, hit that like button and drop a comment on any topic, you know what I'm saying? And I'll respond and we'll chop it up. Yeah, so going back to the Bijan thing, I'll throw a clip in here.
Falcons are down by 7. Give to Robinson. And Robinson's fighting.
And that's just crazy. I don't know how they find him for that. He just lowered his shoulder, lowered his head, but I guess you can't. I guess they want running backs just to run straight up. Shout out to Bijan Robinson for doing his thing this year. And then, also want to touch on Kyle Pitts. He's got a 5th year left, and let's see if him and Michael Penix can do this. So the other take that I was listening to Mike Florio and Rodney Harrison, and we all know Mike Florio, for some reason he can't stand the Atlanta Falcons, right? And everybody's been talking, all the talking heads, everybody's been saying, the Falcons are going to cut Kirk Cousins or trade him or try to get off this $10 million. And Kirk Cousins isn't going to stay here, but Rodney Harrison, well respected in the NFL. He says why he seems to think Kirk Cousins is going to stay, and the Falcons will just pay the $10 million because it's nothing to Arthur Blank, and it's good to have a backup quarterback like Kirk Cousins. And he was saying, Kirk Cousins is a pro, kind of soft-spoken, not demanding, and his family is here in Atlanta. And Rodney Harrison said Kirk Cousins told him that they're going to have to link up and hit the golf courses around the Atlanta area. So Rodney Harrison seems to believe that Kirk Cousins is going to stay. If he stays for another year, I wouldn't mind it, because Rodney Harrison is right. You never know what could happen with Michael Penix. Injuries do happen, and it would be good to have a veteran backup like Kirk Cousins if he's willing to play that role. And a lot of people don't think he is. Maybe he is. We shall find out. I'm also going to start throwing up some mock drafts. I've been going over the college players. Our main needs, in my opinion, is, a cornerback, another speedy linebacker, another nickel back, definitely an edge, and, an offensive tackle. Will the Falcons trade down and try to get some more picks, or are they just going to keep the 4 that they got and run it like that? We shall see, but I'm going to throw some players out there. I'm going to do some profiles. Y'all know how I do with the profiles. If you don't, go check my channel, scroll down, check out some of the profiles I did. I got one on Rook. I got one on Clark Phillips. I got one on Charlie Warner. I got one on Darnell Mooney. You know what I'm saying? The list goes on. So I'm gonna bring that to y'all real soon. Y'all let me know main things. Who's gonna be the DC, and who y'all think's gonna be the DC? Who would you like to be the DC? Are you glad Jimmy Lake's fired? I know a lot of people are. And do you think we can finally get in the playoffs in 2025? If I missed anything, I might chop it up and throw it in there. End this video like I end all my videos. Thank God works. And I hope you have a blessed rest of your day or night. 1.